Hello students, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Ritika this side and today I'll be teaching you all the second chapter from the standard 5th EVS textbook, that is Motions of the Earth. So let's get started. Okay, so in the chapter Motions of the Earth, our first concept is rotation. Okay, so can you see here there's a top over here? Okay, this top turns around itself. Okay, it turns around itself. And any object, if it's turning around itself, it turns around an imaginary axis. So this is the imaginary axis. And the motion, the motion of turning of an object around itself is called rotation. The motion of the top of turning around itself is called rotation. And the imaginary axis, okay, this, can you see this axis? This axis is called the axis of rotation. So here you can find its definition and you can even mark it down. The imaginary line around which it rotates is called its axis, and the turning of an object around itself is called rotation. Let's see what's next. Now we will see the Earth's rotation. In the last chapter, I told you all that the Earth revolves and rotates. So now we will see what is Earth's rotation. Take a globe like one in the picture and spin it. Note the line around which it rotates. Now take a plumb line and hold it close to the globe as shown in the picture. Okay, if you cannot get a plumb line, tie a long thread to an eraser and make one. So I'll tell you what a plumb line is. Can you see this part? This is a plumb line and a thread. The plumb line contains a thread and something like this, so that it is used to mark any depth of any object or the height of any object, anything. So this plumb line is used for that. So now we are going to see an experiment with a globe and a plumb line. You will see that the plumb line and the Earth's axis are at an angle to each other. That is, the Earth's axis is inclined. See the Earth's axis, I will show you. This line, can you see this? This is the Earth's axis and this is the plumb line. Whenever our Earth rotates, that means turns around itself like a top, it is a bit tilted. So the plumb line and the axis make an angle over here. Okay, can you see this? This is an angle. Even here they make an angle. So the plumb line and the axis makes an angle. Why? Because the globe is tilted. It is not straight. No, the globe is not straight. So by this experiment we come to know that Earth is tilted, and tiltedly it rotates, even it revolves. Now we'll see what other points are in this diagram. This is the North Pole. This point you can see N. This is the North Pole. This is the axis. Okay. This we just saw. This is the axis. And if I take a knife and I cut this globe into two parts by this line, then I will get two equal halves of the Earth. So this will be the equator of the Earth. The equator divides the Earth into two equal parts. Okay, the equator, and the upper portion of the equator is called the northern hemisphere, and the lower portion of the Earth is called the southern hemisphere. So now this point here, as you can see, this is the South Pole. This is the South Pole. And this, as I told you, this is the plumb line. If a circle were drawn around the surface of the Earth exactly in between the North and the South poles, it would divide the Earth into two equal parts. This imaginary circle is called the equator. The two equal parts makes of the earth are called the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Just remember the concept of northern hemisphere and southern hemispheres. Okay, here's the next experiment. You can do this even at home if you have a globe. The experiment is you have to take a cardboard and draw a circle around on the cardboard and place a candle in between and put a globe on the circle and just rotate the globe, and even rotatingly it you have to revolve, that is you have to revolve the earth, that is the globe, you have to make a circle through it. So let's see. Now looking at the globe from the direction of the North Pole, turn it anti-clockwise. This is how the Earth rotates. That is, it rotates from west to east. The Earth rotates from west to east. Keep in mind. The Earth rotates from west to east. That means from this side to this side. Okay? As the earth rotates, its different parts come into the light of the sun one after the other and turn away from in also the same way. So just remember, this is your earth, this is the orbit. Last in this last chapter I told you this is the orbit. Okay, yesterday I explained you, and the next is what we have to learn is this is the sun, the light, the candle which is placed in between the circle is called the sun. Okay, so now we will see what sunrise and sunset is. Stick a red bindi on the globe, set up the previous model of the globe and the candle. Turn the globe anti-clockwise. Note when it is sunrise, noon and sunset in the location of the bindi. So this experiment is really very easy. Whenever you take this globe, you have to put a bindi and try to move the earth in such a way that the earth will rotate and even revolve, and the stick a bindi over here, and the bindi will sometime be in the light part and sometime it will be in the dark part. That means what? Whenever the bindi is in the light part, that is if the bindi is here and if the earth is rotating, after one rotation it will again come to that point, but for some time it will be in the darker position. That means the in this part there is a day and in this part there is night. Then the day and night they both combine to become one day. Okay, so that is how we experience day and night on the earth. See, if this is the earth and if here is the sun and here is your country or wherever you are, then on the back side of the earth there will be night because the sun will be over here and the light of the sun will be reached only till this part of this earth, and the remaining part will be in darkness, so you will experience night at that time. This period of time that takes to complete one rotation is called a day. You can mark this down as the definition of a day. What is a day? The period of time that earth takes to complete one rotation is called a day. A day has two parts, daytime and nighttime. As I told you, if the earth completes one rotation, that means it's one day. And when the earth is facing the sun, when the portion of the earth is facing the sun, that portion experiences a day, and the portion which does not faces the sun is called the night time. For the purpose of measuring time, we divide the whole day into 24 parts, each of which is called an hour. That means we have 24 hours in one day. Okay, 24 hours in one day. Okay, I hope you understand it. Now we will see what is a year. Now move the globe along the circle on the table as you do. This keep rotating the globe and ensure that the axis does not change its orientation. Eventually, the globe will come back to its original place on the circle. This is how the earth revolves around the sun even as it rotates around itself. That means what? The earth is here and the sun is over here. The earth is rotating in its orbit and in revolving in its orbit, and even it's rotating, so it's going like this around the sun. And when the earth will complete one revolution, it will be 1 year. Okay, so what is 1 year? The earth completes one revolution. The earth completes one revolution. Okay. The period of time the Earth takes to complete one revolution around the Sun is called 1 year. Just mark down the definition. Please take a pencil and sit while watching the video so that it will be easy for you to mark down what all the definitions which are important. And there are about 365 days in and 6 hours in a year. In 1 year, there are 365 days and 6 hours. Okay, keep this in mind. You can mark this down if you want. It will be easy for you. Okay, so children, let's learn about leap year. See, I have told you in a revolution, that means whenever Earth revolves around the Sun, it takes 365 days plus 6 hours. But in our calendar, we have only 365 days. So where are those 6 hours gone? So after every 4 years, that is, see, 6 into 4. 4 years is equal to 24. 6 fours are 24. That means after every 4 year, that is, it makes 24 hours extra, and 24 hours means 1 day. So after every 4 year, we have 1 day extra which is added into our Gregorian calendar, that is our calendar, and it is added in the month of February. And that is the reason why after every 4 years we have 29 February instead of 28 days. So we have 29 days in February instead of 28 days. And that is the reason that year which contains 29 days in the month of February, it is called a leap year. And therefore in the leap year there are 366 days instead of 365 days. So children, now I'll be telling you the length of days. Okay, just pay attention carefully, very important concept. You know that the length of the day and night is not always equal. This happens because of the earth's inclined axis and its revolution around the sun. See, I told you the earth is inclined, that is, it is tilted and it makes an angle with the axis. Okay, this is the axis and this is the axis and it makes an angle. Okay, it is tilted. So in the northern hemisphere, between 22 March to 20 and 23 September, that is between this period, the days are longer. See, if this is the earth, okay, don't mind my drawing, this is the earth, and in the northern hemisphere, that is this part of the earth, this part, till from 25th 22nd March to 23rd September, days are longer than the nights. That means days are longer than the nights, and that is why they feel summer over there in this period, that is from March to September. That is 6 months. They feel summer for 6 months. They experience summer for 6 months in the northern hemisphere during 25th, 22nd March to 23rd September. And however, during the same period, the nights are longer and the days are shorter. That means here they feel winter. Okay, whenever here in the northern hemisphere there is summer, here they feel winter. Okay, the next is from 23rd September to 22nd March. The days are longer than the nights. Over here in the southern hemisphere, days are longer. Okay, days are longer than the nights, and therefore they experience here summer during this period. That is another 6 month period till March, from September to March. This and then in the northern hemisphere they experience winter because nights are longer than the days. Okay, nights are longer. Okay, there may be difference due to if there comes a leap year. I told you leap year. What is leap year? So if there's a leap year, there comes a difference of 1 or 2 days. In India, summer, the rainy, and winter are considered to be the main seasons, and we also divide the year into 6 seasons. These are the names which are not in English: Vasant, Grishma, Varsha, Sharad, Hemant, and Shishir. So, children, the cycle of 6 seasons is called the Ritu Chakra. The seasons which I told you just now, a cycle of these seasons is called the Ritu Chakra. Okay, many of our festivals and are connected with the seasons. Many of our songs and games are also related to different seasons. Now we will see phases of the moon. First, we will see the full moon and the new moon. I will quickly explain you what a full moon and a new moon night is. Okay, see, this is the earth. This is a earth, and here is the sun. Okay, the earth is revolving in its axis around the sun, and here is the axis of the moon. Okay, the moon is also revolving around the earth. So whenever the moon revolving, and when it comes between the earth and the sun, it the three of them are in a line. So what happens is the light which falls on the earth and the sun and the moon from the sun, see, the moon doesn't have its own light. We get light. The moon gets light from the sun. It doesn't have its own light. Even we, that is the earth, gets light from the sun. So whenever we see the moon in the sky, it is partially seen. That is, the half portion is seen. The half is not, other half is not seen because it is on the other side of the earth. So whenever we see the moon, we only see the partial side of the moon, that is half side of the moon. And whenever these three are in line, the sun's rays fall on this side of the moon, which cannot be seen by the earth, and we can see only this part of the moon. So that's why whenever there is new moon night, we cannot see moon. That is called amavasya. Okay, so we cannot see the moon, and that is why it is known as new moon night. And on the next night we can see then the phases of the moon start. I will show you the picture of phases of the moon. As the moon revolves around the earth, the phases changes. Okay, the phases of the moon keep on changing, and I will also tell you what a full moon is. Now, did you understand what is the new moon? You can see only the partial part of the moon, which is not seen by the earth, but the other part is visible to the sun and which experiences light, and the other part cannot experience light. Therefore we cannot see the other half of the moon, and therefore we call it a new moon night, or in Hindi we call it amavasya. Okay, now I will tell you what is a full moon. Suppose this is the sun, here is the moon, and here is our earth. Okay, this is our earth. This is our earth. So as I told you, moon doesn't have its own light. It gets light from the sun. Okay, this is the sun, and it gets light from the sun. These are the rays of the sun rays. So whenever we are able to see this part of the moon which is visible, and on this part the sun rays are falling. That means the whole moon is covered by sun rays, and that is the reason we can see the whole moon, that is the full moon, on this time. So this is called as full moon night or full moon. So this day is also called as Purnima. And the moon, which we are able to see, that is the half part which is visible to the earth and which is also faced by the sun, and it also received the sun rays. Therefore we can see the moon fully, not partially. We can see this moon, and that day is called a full moon. Now we will see the lunar month and days. See, as I told you, full moon and new moon. So whenever there is full moon, after that the moon appears in this position, and then it goes on increasing. Have you seen this picture? See, it is going on increasing. Then this, then this, and then this, and it is going on increasing up to it completes one full round. Okay, see, this is a full moon. Okay, this is a full moon night, and this period is known as waxing moon. The waxing moon period, that is shukla paksha, it is for 15 days. And again, after attaining full moon, the moon decreases in size. See, first it is increasing, and then again it goes on decreasing, 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 and decreasingly it becomes no moon. Okay, no moon night. See, no moon night, and that period is known as the waning period, that is the Krishna Paksha. It is also for 15 days. So for the fortnight of the waxing moon plus the fortnight of the waning moon is called a lunar month. That is 15 plus 15, that is 30 days. So that month is called the lunar month. Now let's see what we have learned. The rotation of the earth causes day and night. Okay, the rotation of the earth, as I told you, when the earth is rotating, here is the sun and here is moon, and when it is rotating, this is the daytime, and when it rotates, it comes to the night, and then again it goes to the next day, that is the one day. And the revolution of the earth around the sun and its inclined axis together causes the seasons. How do we get the seasons? The revolution of the earth around the sun. Okay, whenever the earth revolves around the sun and its inclined axis, the axis is inclined, so that is the reason why we get seasons. We get different seasons, as I told you, the 6 seasons which I mentioned. Okay, what are those? Vasant, Grishma, Varsha, Hemant, Sharad, and Shishir. Okay, the revolution of the moon around the earth gives rise to the phases of the moon. How do we get phases of the moon? The revolution of the moon around the earth. That means when the moon completes one revolution around the earth. Okay, this is the moon and this is the earth. When the moon completes one revolution of the around the earth, we get phases of the moon. The period from one new moon to the next is called a lunar month. As I told you just now, from one new moon to the next new moon is called the lunar month. It has about 28 to 30 days. The fortnight extending on a full moon is that of the waxing moon. The fortnight extending on a full moon up to the full moon is called the waxing, and from the full moon, so the fortnight that's end on a new moon, from the full moon to the new moon is called the waning moon. And the days of the lunar month, that means all the days in the lunar month, are called tithis. Okay, tithis. So that's it for today, children. I hope you all have understood the chapter. If not, if you have any doubt, please write down in the comment section. And if you like the video or the explanation, please hit the like button. Also, if you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to click on the bell icon so that whenever I upload a new video, it will be notified to you. So I'm signing off, and that's it for today. Thank you, friends.